Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the 2022 Netflix original limited series. It's only 4 episodes. Lost Ollie. So this is based on a book. Um, Jake Johnson's in this. Gina Rodriguez is in this. They play husband and wife. They play parents to Billy. And they adopted him when he was a baby. And so we have good conversations of why don't you look like me? Why don't I look like you? Kind of a thing. So that was neat to see. Now the main premise of this story is this patchwork bunny named Ollie, who's just made of different parts and has a jingle in his chest and got a star and things, and he's lost, right? So we start out with him in a thrift shop, trying to figure out where's Billy, where's my best friend Billy, how did I get here, things, right? Things. So a girl comes into the thrift shop and it's her 5th birthday and her daddy said she can get anything she wants and Ollie can come home with her and they can play forever and all these things. And he's like, no, thank you, but I'm gonna find Billy. So then he meets this Elvis clown toy named Zozo who is questing to find his Nina, right? And so it's a matter of, is Nina a girl like Billy's the boy, or is what's up with Nina? So we meet one of Zozo's friends, Rosie, who's another patchwork bear that he helped put back together again, and she's like combat training in the alleyways and things. So now it's the quest of, okay, well, Ollie's memory is coming back slowly, and he's trying to get things together. And why does Ollie's jingle in his chest sound like Nina, who happens to be a doll, a puppet that Zozo was in love with, and they were at this carnival together, amusement park together for different games. And so how does all these things come about, right? So it's the memories are coming back and things are happening and the quest is fine. We're putting the pieces of the puzzle together to find Billy, right? But we're getting the backstory as well. We're getting Billy's backstory. We're getting Billy's mama's backstory. Gina Rodriguez's character is diagnosed with cancer. They don't have insurance. They can't afford chemo. She's not allowing the family to be drowned in bills, when she eventually passes away. So we're not going to prolong the inevitable kind of a thing. There's kid descriptions of an MRI machine. There's kid descriptions of a hospital as the big white tower, like things like that. It's interesting getting different kid perspectives and the toy perspective as well. The toys can talk to those who still have the imagination and wonder to them, kids. And so it's a quest, but it's also a backstory as well. We get Zozo's backstory. We get Rosie's backstory. We get Nina's backstory. She was eventually sold at an auction to this girl, and then she was gone, and Zozo was stuck there, and things, right? So it's a lot of heart being brought about by these different toys. It's only 3 main toys, but then stuff happens, and we see the dark side of the toys, and Zozo's ripping apart a rhinoceros, and violence. But then there's the drama aspect. Billy brings Ollie to in a memory. Billy brings on Ollie to show and tell after his mom's funeral. He's in a suit, wears his corsage, and so the flower on the lapel, right? And so he's fighting now with one of the bullies, and the bully throws Ollie away, and he's saying, "Stop being a baby." And then Billy's getting the voice of his dad, of Jake's character, back in his head. "Stop being a baby. You have to grow up," kind of a thing. And then Ollie is lost at the park, at the playground. So then it's a matter of, how does Ollie get from the playground to a thrift store box to then the thrift store? And then there's a massive time jump when Ollie eventually finds his way back home and sees that the house is abandoned and disheveled and all the stuff is there. And he's like, no, it's too late. How much time passed? How much time passed? And then he fights with Zozo, who followed him, and they fight with Rosie, and then Rosie and Zozo wind up killing each other. Violent. Very violent. I don't even know what this is rated. This is not a kid's show. Not a kid's show. And so then it turns out Nina's bell is the bell that was put into Ollie, and Nina's bell is from Nina, who Billy's mom got from the auctioneer when she was a kid, and she loves her so much until Nina fell apart and was able to keep whatever pieces she could to make something else. So Nina was his mom's, and then she made Ollie for Billy. So it was a whole revelation, and it was just my jaw dropped. I did not expect so many things to be revealed within the last episode. Insane. So we're then watching it. We, as in me, myself, and I, and we're getting some more things. And then Ollie winds up in a puddle with the bell pulled out of him because he's dead. Zozo killed him, ripped the heart out, and so then somebody comes in a truck, picks up the toy, and it turns out it's an older Billy. It's an adult married Billy with a child. Brings Ollie home to this house that he built next to the abandoned house him and his dad, were a part of. After Jake has a wonderful heart-to-heart with him as a kid, it's okay to cry, and, doesn't mean that you're not tough in things. Very important heart-to-hearts that the two of them have, realizing that it's just them now. There's no more mama in the picture. It's just Dada and Billy. So the house next door is built. Billy and his wife, move in there, have their child, who happens to be the 5-year-old girl we meet in the very first episode, who goes into the thrift store with her dad, and who says that she can get anything, she wants for $5 or under for her birthday. And so the girl said, you can come home with me. And then revealing after Ollie is given to her, she's like, oh, it's Ollie. I told you you'd come home with me. It was a whole full circle moment. A whole full circle moment as well, as Gina's character of Mama is dying on her deathbed in the hospital, whispering what to tell Billy, when he sees him again. And then it was a matter of, she eventually passed and he didn't get to tell Billy, and then he was lost for all this time. So it was a beautiful turnaround. It was a wonderful, the girl gets the doll at the end. It was a beautiful, Billy and Ollie get to have a moment, because he didn't actually lose his imagination. He still got to talk to Ollie and then play with his daughter, which is cute and adorable. But who put Ollie in the box? Who took Ollie from the playground? And then where was Ollie for so long before he was then put in a donation box and dropped off at the thrift store, which is then when Billy's daughter finds him, and then the story continues of him getting his memory back. How much time was that? It was a long time. Like 20 years maybe? But where was Ollie for 20 years? So I'm curious in the book if it explains that, because that's my only question. Where was Ollie for 20 years? Not remembering anything. Or was he conscious? He couldn't have been conscious. And again, I'm putting way too much thought into a toy. What I really loved about this project is the practical effects that they had, because they had actual versions of these toys. Like there was an actual Zozo that you would throw a ball at and he would bounce back for this game kind of thing. Knock Zozo down, get a prize as this carnival game. And then there was a tornado and he had to sew some clown legs on himself and it became his own toy and all things, right? But then they had actual Ollies as well. For Billy to play with all different ages of Billy. There was various ages of Billy throughout this story. So I really liked the practical effects of that. It'd be nice to see those, props somewhere along the line in a museum. But that was my only question. And my only question is where was Ollie for the 20 years between him being thrown out of the door into the playground parking lot of the school by that bully, to then us seeing him decades later being dropped off at a thrift store, being then introduced to Billy's daughter. Where was he? I'm curious. But overall, it was an entertaining bit. The middle of the story, I'm not going to lie, I was taken aback because it was so much backstory about Zozo and Nina and Rosie. And I'm like, what does this have to do with Ollie and Billy? But it has to do with Ollie and Billy. So it all makes sense. I understood it at the end. And it was so sad. It was so dramatic. Oh my God, I did not expect this to be as heartbreaking as it was. Very heartbreaking. Here I am staring at my screen, tears in my eyes, jaw dropped through the second half of the last episode. And I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I think it would have been better as a movie, to be honest. I don't think it should have been 4 episodes of a limited series. But it is what it is. We got the story. We watched it, checked it off the list. Lost Ollie. On to the next review. Mahalo.